Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm Lisa and you're watching Home vs. House. Guys, I am here yet again walking through my backyard kitchen garden. I did a couple of updates here since my last video. I added some decor to this space. I updated my garden room here. I've also planted some new plants, and so I'll take you through on what are some things that I've done here for the past week. So let's start with this archway or entryway. I added some decor to the top. Guys, these are some thrifted items that I've had. I collected over the years, and I've just added them here. Some wind chimes, some mason glass jars. This year I'm gonna try to put some candles in there to light up the space in the evenings. Down below I added some of my metal decor pieces. So I got ants, butterfly, and a frog over here, and I kind of mirrored the same thing on this side. And then I planted some hostas here. I uprooted them, or I just took out from some other areas. So mainly over in this garden room I have hostas growing there, and I thought I would bring some of them here. I am discovering one, rabbits have gotten to them, and then two, this might still be too much of a sunny spot for them. So there's a couple of things that I may do. I may add a covering to the top of here to see if that mitigates that issue. Not sure what I'm going to do about the rabbits yet, but I'm going to see how that plan progresses, and I'll take you along in future videos. But for right now, that was my idea, to add the hostas over on this side. In this small garden bed, I added some, I protected my cabbage a bit, so I had some chicken wires and just oh, this is a strainer for my deep fryer that I had for a lot of years and no longer is using it. Found it in my garage, and so I'm using it here for now until I get some more chicken wires. But I just again added those to protect my cabbage. My cabbage last year was eaten pretty badly between either rabbits and the yellow butterflies, so I didn't get any harvest. This year I'm trying to do something different. I shared on the last video I'm also doing some companion planting as well. So I have some green onions growing on the borders. I also have sage. I added this dill plant over this last week, and then I have some rosemary here as well. I do want to get some marigolds for each of the raised beds, so that's another a future video. Over here I have some parsley growing, and I've been harvesting my herbs quite a bit over the last few weeks, and so I love to cook with fresh herbs. I also like to use some of our fresh herbs in my teas, so I've been doing that as well. All right guys, so let me take you to this garden room here. These were some pillows and throw pillows that I've had for a lot of years. If you could tell, there's some sun damage spots to it, but they still work out here, and so I'm using it yet again this year. I'll probably keep my eye out at the end of the summer season to see if I get any good ones to start next summer, but for this summer this works still out here, so I've brought it back. Alongside here I have So I uprooted my hydrangeas here because I realized they were not getting enough sun. I did poke some two stems, hydrangea stems here. Not sure they're gonna survive, but I'm just researching. And then back here, I have to move this plant out of the way, but back here I added an autumn fern. And then I have some bleeding hearts that I uprooted from my front yard, and I brought it here. Hostas I uprooted from the front yard as well, and I brought it back here. And then here's a heuchera stem, or some pieces that I took from over here and I added here. So we'll see how this area does in the coming weeks. But that was my idea, just to have some things over here. I felt like after I uprooted the hosta, the hydrangeas, it was kind of bare and it needed some vegetation. Over in this corner, I showed this on last video. These are some shaded, a shaded collection of plants. I also had a hydrangea plant over here that I uprooted as well, and I'll show you here in a little bit where I put the hydrangeas. This plant right here, I think last time I said it was a mulberry stem. This is actually an elderberry stem that I had gotten a few weeks ago at a plant seed fair in my community. Over in this garden bed, I have some green onions. I have collard greens. I also have kale growing here, and some garlic scallion, or garlic chive, growing here as well. And guys, I just added some colorful pieces. Again, these were thrifted pieces that I've had for some time throughout the years, and I've added them back out here. This bush right here is a shrub. It's a Weigela, and it's got some really pretty pink blossom, and I think they blossom in the summertime. I got them last year and they blossomed for a little bit, and I want to say it was a summer blossom, but we'll see. This is an area that I still have to do something with. I had foxgloves growing here over the past few years, and they've come back. And we had a really bad rainstorm some weeks ago, and I had some runoff here, and they just washed them away. So I don't see any of them left. I did manage to salvage one plant, and I put it someplace else, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. But I am looking for maybe some this is a shaded area, so I'll have to look for a shaded collection that maybe can self-seed, so I don't really have to do much. That's what I did with the foxgloves here for some years now, so I'm probably gonna do something similar here shortly. I added this thrifted birdhouse. I really like this rustic look. If you will see throughout this this space, I keep it rustic looking for the most part. Over in this pot, my thyme is coming back. Each day I look at it, it's coming back more and more. It's getting thicker and thicker, so I'm excited about that. That's another herb that I use in my cooking as well as teas. Over here I have some overwintered carrots. I'm not sure they're going to be in good condition. They might have rotted, kind of, but also they are thriving, so I'm gonna harvest a couple of them here in the next week to see what condition I have down at the bottom. I might be eating some carrots here, so we'll see. I did go ahead and plant my amaranth seeds. So last video I showed that I had gotten some amaranth seeds, green and red variety, and I planted them down in this corner over here of this garden bed. I have some bell peppers growing here. I did use these metal stakes to kind of help stabilize it as they grow taller. And again, guys, these are things that I already had on hand. This is a butterfly bush that I had transplanted here last year. I had it in another area and I transplanted it here. I had two of them, and this one looked like it probably died out, but I've got one coming back. These are two tomato plants that I also use these metal stakes to help support as they grow. This shrub right here is lilac bush, and so I've had this here for a number of years. I had two plants and they are growing nice and thick. I am going to let them grow out a little bit because I wanted to add some shade to these two garden beds. So the idea was to have the Regelia bush over on this side, the lilac bush here, and then I have some Forsythia growing over here. And again, the idea is to add some shade to these two garden beds because this is a sunnier spot, and so over the past few years I've been growing like shaded vegetables here. I might swap them out a little bit here and add some tomato plants like on this end of the garden bed because it gets some sunlight, quite a bit of sunlight here, as well as over on this end right here of this other garden bed. It's got some sunlight. So I'm planning on adding some tomatoes or peppers over on that side. But guys, that's the idea, is to work with what I have. Quite a large portion of this space is shaded, and so I've managed to develop this part right here, which is a combination of shaded and sun, full sun area. And so that's how I'm kind of doing it. And every year, guys, is an experiment. I come out here at different times of the day and the seasons just to see how the sunlight and shade is hitting this space, so I could have some ideas on what to plant where. This is an annual plant that I added here. This was a clearance plant, and the name is escaping me right now, but I picked this up a couple of days ago from Aldi's. They were getting rid of them. They were on clearance, and they were originally like I think like $9.99. It was a hanging plant, and I ended up getting it for $4.99. And so love clearance plant, especially the annuals that I know are not going to come back. Sometimes I spend a little bit more if it's an annual that's self-seed, but I'm always looking for clearance plants, whether it's perennials or annuals, because that's how I make my plant budget work for me. I think those are geraniums. Yep, that's what they are. And so I have it over here just to add a pop of color on this end of the garden, because it's mostly right now just greenery. So I had that idea. I have two other tomato plants. I think these two are cherry tomatoes growing in this cinder block here. And then this, I showed on the last video, I transplanted this plant. I've had it for quite some time. It's a peony plant, and I had it for a lot of years in a two shaded area, and so it has never bloomed, and I'm hoping that this year I can see some blooms, so we'll have to see. Coming right along to finish up this garden bed on this side. Also, I shared that this was a somewhat of a shaded area, and so I have some garlic chives growing here, some kale growing here, and then along the trellis I have beans growing. So I'm excited about that. I also, in these two garden beds, the thing that I have done over the past few years is to do beans and peas, green peas, up the trellis of both these two garden beds to add some additional shade to the kale or collard greens or cabbage that I've grown here before. So again, just an idea. Sometimes when you have like vine vegetables, they can offer some shade to other vegetables here. I also want to add some marigolds over here, but we'll see. We'll see what as this garden bed develops for the summer. Guys, so over in this area, this is where I added this foxgloves. So here it is, the one surviving. I added it over here, and then this is Black Eye Susan that I had uprooted from another area, and I have it over here. Also, my honeysuckle is doing wonderfully. I love the blooms on here. The idea is to have it developed alongside this garden fence. So it has, I had purchased 4 of them, and I think only 2 came back over the past few years, and so they've just been getting thicker and thicker, and I've just been training it, and so I have to do a little bit more training here shortly. All right, guys, well, let's keep going. I still haven't found any plant for this pot yet. I'm still in search. Last year I had some rosemary growing here, and I want to do something different. I may get some chamomile to grow over here, so we'll see. All right, guys, let's continue to walk through. I don't remember the name of this plant, but I had gotten it on clearance last year from Home Depot, and they have come back, and it's supposed to be really good, a tea option, and so I can't wait to utilize it. I do see some blooms already on there. All right, let's come on back down here. I have 2 blueberry growing down here, and then I added this lantern. I took it from another area of this garden, and I added this lantern here. It's probably not going to stay here, but I added it here for now. In the cinder blocks, I have some marigolds. I have this eggplant, and it's doing a lot better. As you can see, some of the leaves were eaten off here, and it was struggling for a little bit, and so I added some marigold here, as well as some other herbs, and I think that has helped some. And then I have this tomato plant growing here. It's got 1 tomato on there for now. I've got a basil plant over here. This is another shaded full sun combination here. Down at the bottom, it's a little bit more shaded, and at the top, it gets some quite a bit of sunlight. So I moved the basil over here specifically to get a combination of sun, but then I have these bearded iris leaves that's kind of shading it just a little bit. Another eggplant, and it's coming along pretty well. I see some new shoots down here. I have another marigold, another tomato, and then I moved this plant. I still don't know another name for it, but in the Caribbean, this is known as big thyme, and it's an herb. You can also use it as a tea, and I've been using it for both. So I moved it here because I had it in another garden bed that was a little bit more sunny, and as you can see, it's got some sun damage. So I moved it over here where it can get some shade, and I think it's doing better. I see some new shoots on it already. All right, down over here, I have rosemary growing here, oregano, 2 bell peppers that I've also staked, some thyme in the middle, and then on the other end I have lavender and rosemary growing here as well. So guys, this is an area, so this slope right here, I get a lot of water runoff when it rains really heavy, and over the years I've tried to add different things. I added some cinder blocks up here. It helped a little bit, but not enough, and so this year I'm using some wood that I already had in this space that I was using for steppers. I am using it like this. Not sure it's going to work, but I'm always trying to develop a plan to keep this area to help with the water runoff here. So we'll see. I'll have to wait for a next heavy rain to see how that has worked out, but I thought if I added these 3 pieces of wood, this one I still have to finish up. I'm looking for another anchor here, and again, I'm just using things that I already have on hand. As you can see, a piece of metal, I found this in the back here someplace, and I think that was just a leftover of some foundation work that I've had done last year. And then I'm looking for another piece here before I cover this up. In the other ones, I've used pieces of wood that I had on hand. And guys, as I see things thrifting, as I see more durable materials, I have a list of some things that I'm looking out for in the coming weeks as I'm thrifting, and so as I see it, I pick it up. If I see it in the hardware store on clearance, I pick it up. So I usually have a planner, like a garden planner, of items. To see some items are immediate, so I go looking for it and scouting it, and other things I can always wait on them, and just to keep my eyes out as I go throughout my day. This area is another area that when the water runs off, it kind of pools here. So over the past few years, I've just used rocks collected in other areas of my backyard space and added it there. It has helped in this area somewhat. And then alongside the garden fence, I have a combination of daylilies that I planted last year, and I see them coming back. They're about to bloom. I also have some bearded iris, and the bearded iris was on the property when I purchased the property years ago, and I've just moved them from different areas of the home. This is where I planted one of the hydrangea plant over here. I also planted another one in between here as well, and again, this is more of a shaded area, so it does get some sunlight more than where it was before. So I'm hoping that would work. And then the third hydrangea is over here as well, and kind of same situation. Over in this garden room, I have some development. I had some water runoff here as well, so that's another area that I'm going to work on here soon. A few years ago, I added this wall, kind of rustic looking wall. I meant to come back and do some more work here and just never got back here, so we'll see. Maybe this year I will do that. In this DIY planter, I have some bearded iris growing that I moved here from another area. And guys, here's the collection of hostas that I started off with. These hostas when I first purchased the home, and I had it up in the front yard, which there was a shaded area, and a few years ago I had some branches cut off the trees there because it was moving towards the house, and then that opened up that area to be a full sun, and so I had to move my hostas back here, and so they've been over here in this area since then, and it's been a few years now. These were coneflower seeds that that self-seeded. I just, when I cut back on my coneflower and Black Eyed Susan, I just sprinkled the seeds here. Matter of fact, I left the stems. I just cut off the stems and the old stems, and I just laid them alongside the fence. So that's what you're seeing over here. So I have this evergreen pine that I have had growing here. I do need to cut off some of the top so it doesn't grow too tall, but I had it in my front yard, and before I purchased the home, I think they had some landscaping done with it, and over the years I've just seen some new shoots come out. So this one was probably the first new shoot, and I moved it back here. I have a second one that I plan to, in the next week or so, over Memorial Day weekend, to uproot it, and I want to plant it alongside the top here. To the idea, I have 4 of them that I want to transplant back here along the this area on the outside, to hopefully over the coming years add like a live fence, like privacy situation back here. I don't have like a permanent fence. This backyard is not fenced in. I have probably about 4+ years ago, my son and I worked on adding some garden fence alongside here to serve 2 purposes: to keep the rabbits out, although that has not worked entirely, and then also we do have an Airedale Terrier that here he is over here, if you can see him. So that adds a fenced in area so he can roam freely back here. And so this area here that's not developed is kind of like his territory. I have some wood over here from last year that I had cut back, and I still have to burn it. So that's a burning pile that you see. Let's see what else. Here's the other pine that I have to uproot and put back there. Guys, this garden bed, so I had some new development here. I added, last time I showed that I added some chicken wire to my Japanese cabbage, and it has been thriving since then. And so whatever was getting to it, probably the rabbits can no longer access it. So that's been working out really well. I also do have either a cucumber, a squash, or a watermelon plant combination. I have 3 of them, and I know I planted all 3, but I planted actually 4. I think it was 2 cucumbers, a watermelon, and a squash, and one of them died out. And I honestly, guys, I don't know which of the 3 survived. So I'll just have to see. I am going to transplant them though closer to this trellis that I have added back here. So this was 2 pieces of metal that I had up against on either side of this archway, and I've moved it because I got a trellis to replace them. So I added them here. So the plan is to have the cucumbers or the squash or the watermelon to access this trellis. So one on this side and one on this side. Guys, this is another idea of using what you have and then keeping your eye out for something better as the season progresses and you're up and about. Let's see over here. Well, let me do this corner first. So these are another set of cinder blocks that I've had. Up here I have a strawberry patch growing. Down at the bottom, lettuce patch, and I've been harvesting this lettuce. As a matter of fact, I just harvested a little bit ago for a salad here later. And then I have some purple cabbage growing, some green onions. I also have some broccoli and green onions on this side as well. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And then I have a potting table situation happening over here. And so it's pretty disorganized. I still need to do some more work here on this rainwater container. I do want to add a spigot down here at the bottom and then open up the top area and maybe move it to a different area. We'll see. My lamian is growing here in this repurposed tire that I painted last year. I am going to move these 2 DIY planters someplace else, but I'm still developing a plan for that. I also have some daylilies growing here as well, and some bearded iris. I want to add some more bearded iris in this spot because it looks a little bare on this side. Let's see. All right, well, let's come alongside here. So these hanging collection, last video I said that I was looking to add some more plants here, some more annuals, and I found some more plants, and they were on clearance for like maybe 60, I think it was like 50 cents a piece. And so I got they were in packs of 4, so I added them here. And then I have a strawberry patch in the middle. I harvest 1 strawberry so far, and I see 2 more that I'm going to be harvesting here shortly. There's 1 over here, and then there's 1 towards the back area here. And they're pretty sweet. I have these 2 boxwood that I've had for a lot of years, and they were coming up nicely, and then we had some unexpected freeze and they got damaged, and so they're coming back. I do need to cut them off, cut off the top a little bit and prune it, but it's coming back. Over here I have some cilantro growing, and I'm excited that they've sprouted. So I'm excited for that. This is a spot, it's a pretty sunny spot, and so I try to add things that will thrive. I did bring out my spider plant from outside, from indoors. I brought it out here, and I think this here is a sunflower that's growing in this pot. My Japanese spirea is looking very good. They're starting to have some blooms on there. So a combination of just the chartreuse leaves and the pink blooms just really add a touch of color in this corner. And then I made a little path here with some wooden pieces that I had left over from building this archway last year. And then I have some sedum growing in this pot, and I just added some decor pieces. I did this last year and I just left it over. All right, so guys, this is the trellis that I got from Aldi's. So I got 2 of them within the last week, and I've added it here and just taken out the metal piece that this metal piece that I had over here. I moved it over here and added this to the space. And then in this pot I have some morning glory growing from seeds. I see my daisies are coming back. I have a blueberry plant over here, and then some more sedum. Last year I just added some of this decor metal pieces that I had used on the inside of my home for some years, and then I just had it in the garage, so I brought it out here just to add to this space. I added this lantern here, and then these 2 citronella candles left over from last year. I added it on the scones here. In these 2 hanging baskets, last week I found some Collia plants. Those are annuals on clearance at Ace Hardware, and I added some on this side and then some on this side. Guys, that is what's happening with this space so far and some of the updates. Again, added some thrifted pop of color, some new plants. As I said before, my plans maybe this coming week is to get some more marigolds to add in these raised beds, to do some companion planting. Marigolds have been known to kind of be a pest control plant, so that is the reason why I'm adding it here. Guys, I have reached the end of this garden walkthrough, so thank you so much for staying with me, and my plan is to do some weekly videos of this space and what's blooming, what's dying, what's developing here. So stay tuned for future videos, and I will see you next time. In the meantime though, please stay well.